men out there. But why are you picking the trash ones? This is a two-part message. I will be addressing the men next week. Okay? The first one I'm going to say to you is there are trash men out there. So many trash men out there. But why do you keep picking the trash ones out there? That's the question. Okay? Let me say it one more time just in case you didn't hear me. There are trash men out there, but why do you keep picking the trash ones out there? Okay, so that is how we're starting the premise of this conversation. Okay, by the way, I'm giving us a new name on this particular platform. Okay, we're calling ourselves Genesis 318. If you know the Bible, you know why, but we're calling ourselves Genesis 318. So from now on, as a crew, for those of us who are going to be here regularly, we are the Genesis crew. Okay, we are the Genesis crew. So if you're in a chat, with me, if you're here and you're in this particular live, just type in the chat Genesis. Okay, all right. Type in the chat Genesis. If you are a part of the community, you've been here for the last few weeks, you know how we do, and you know how we get down, you know how smooth we are. Type in the chat Genesis. Okay, all right. Type in the chat Genesis. Okay, cool. Listen. Let me break down. So I'm going to bring down 10 points pretty much for women as well, particularly this week. And the next week we'll do 10 points for the men as to why they choose trash women. Okay, because we need to be able to balance the books always. Okay, so this week we're discussing the ladies. All right, my 10 points are: number 1, passivity is a problem. Number 2, lack of boundaries. Number 3, overgiving. Number 4, you are constantly in negative spaces. Number 5, stop wondering what he thinks. It's not important. Number 6, what do you value versus what have you accepted? Number 7, what parts of you do you hide or reject? Number 8, what needs have you failed to act on? Self-abandonment. Number 9 is move in silence, stop broadcasting. And number 10, unrealistic ideals. Okay, those are the 10 points. 10 points again, quickly, and I'll break them all down. Number 10 is unrealistic ideals. Number 9 is move in silence. Number 8 is what needs have you failed to act on? Self-abandonment. Number 7, what parts of you do you reject? Okay. Number 6, what do you value versus what have you accepted? Number 5, stop wondering what he thinks. Number 4, stop sitting in negative spaces. Number 3, overthinking. Okay. Oh, sorry, overgiving. Number 3 is overgiving. Stop overgiving. Okay. Number 2 is lack of boundaries. Number 1 is your passivity. Okay. All right. So again, the title of the thing is Men Aren't Trash. They are. But why do you keep picking them? You know what I'm saying to you? I've been a little bit cheeky with the title, of course, but you know what I'm saying to you. All right. Cool. Let's go. Point number one. Point number 1. All right. If you're with me, type Genesis in the chat. If you're with me, type Genesis in the chat. That's what we are called around here. We're called Genesis Crew. Thank you very much. Is it Bryn Latoskin? Bryn Latoskin Aish. Chale, it no be easy, that name. My Karabasi Barahanta. Father, we give you grace. All right, listen. All right, let's get the show going. Okay, number 1. Okay, is your passivity is a problem. Ladies, I want you to understand something. Passivity is a problem. What do I mean by passivity? No one else can lead your life except for you. You are single and you are by yourself. You are the leader of your life, not a man, okay? Not somebody else, okay, who is, likes you. You are a leader for your life and you are accountable for it. You cannot be passive about it, okay? All right? While I believe that men should always pursue a woman, a man should always pursue a woman, but I want you to be no longer passive. What does that mean? It means that lead your own life. Go and do what you want to do. If you want to go and enjoy a movie, you want to go enjoy it in museums, you want to go and do things, go and do them. Live your life. Go and do things that are important to you. You've got a list of things that you like to do. Don't save it for that man. He ain't coming just yet. Go and do what you want to do, right? If you want to explore, fly, move countries, whatever it is, do it. Because you are the only leader of your life, no one else. Can I say that again? In essence, what I'm really saying is de-center men. Okay? In essence, what I'm really saying is de-center men. Here's why. Because we don't center you. We as men do not center you. That's why we win all the time. We don't center you. And of course, whilst I'm talking about when we are outside of a relationship, when we are single, we are not centering you. If I want to move countries, I will move countries. If I want to move jobs, I will move jobs. If I want to go somewhere else, I'm going to go there. I don't care about you. Okay, I don't care. And that's the whole issue. So ladies, your passivity is linked to your centering of men. Stop centering them, because they are not important to what you're trying to do. Of course, we want you to get married. We want you to be in a relationship. But I want you to understand something, okay? Whenever you center us, you end up becoming, and I don't like this word too heavy. I want to explain it a little bit. You become this kind of pick me. When I say pick me, I want to be very, very careful what I'm saying here, because I don't want it to go into... I don't want to go into a space of feminism because someone's going to misquote what I'm saying to you. But I want you to understand something very, very clearly. What I mean by this is you are the center of your own life. You're not making somebody who doesn't exist the center of your life. Doesn't make sense. Men don't make women the center of their life because we have other things we got to do. You have hobbies that you want to do. There are things that you want to achieve. Go and do them. If God has called, especially if God has called you somewhere, if God has called you to go somewhere, you better go. You better go and do what you got to do. Okay? Go and do what you got to do. All right? When you start allowing men to be the center of your world, that you can't even, I don't know if I'm going to take that job right now. I won't take that job because I'm thinking about the man I'm going to choose. If you start thinking like that, you'll probably end up choosing the wrong man anyway. Because the right man that actually wants you chooses you because you got, and I'm going past my points, because you got good boundaries, you have a vision for your life, you're ambitious, you're goal driven. And when I say about this, I'm talking about when you're single. Of course, when you get in a relationship, you've already seen my videos. I've talked about submitting to a man. I've spoken about that. I've spoken about how women should submit to a man. You've heard me say it. But I'm talking about when you are single, you should be the only sole driver of your life. Go and do what you want to do. Go and do what you're doing. Because whenever you decide that you won't go to this job because of a man, right? You are probably going to choose the wrong man. Okay? You're probably going to choose the wrong kind of guy. Because the guy that wants you to center him in your life is probably more than likely going to be a narcissist. I don't want you centering me in your life. Do I want you to care about me? Absolutely. Do I want you to as a man, do I want to lead and somebody who's going to follow my lead? Yes. Do I want you to center me in your life? No. I'm not a god and I'm not no idol. So I don't need you to center me in my life, and I'm not insecure. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And you know, some of the ladies are not happy with the fact that I said submit. Yeah, you should submit. You should watch those other videos. You should submit when you are married. When you are married. You know what I'm saying to you? But before that point, lead your life. Stop being passive. Okay? All right? Because like I said, and in the end, all that happens is you allow for someone else to take control of your life. Okay? All right? We don't need to have that. All right? Okay? Like I said, men don't need to be the center of your life when you are single, because you are leading your life. All right? Number 2. Okay? Here's a point. Number 2. Lack of boundaries is not loyalty. Okay? All right? Lack of boundaries is not loyalty. Okay? Lack of boundaries is not loyalty. When you allow behaviors to dishonor you, thinking you're patient and you're consistent, that you can change him, you are robbing yourself of the opportunity of finding the right kind of man for you. You are a Bob the Builder, and I need you to stop it. You are a Bob the Builder, and I need you to stop it. Stop pretending you can save anybody. You're not Supergirl, okay? And you're not Bobina the Builder. Okay, leave the weapons and the tools alone. Okay, when we talk about boundaries, it's about knowing where you begin and where you end, what you respect and what you don't respect, how to communicate with you and how to behave with you. When you have boundaries, it lets everybody know. In fact, men, you want a good man? A good man likes a woman with good boundaries. You know why? Because men tend to and this goes back to a principle the Bible has brought, right? The Bible says about how a husband loves his wife, right? That he loves her as if it's himself. If you don't love you and don't put boundaries, the type of men that you tend to attract are men who don't love themselves, who can't love you. Okay? The type of men you're about to attract, if you don't have boundaries, are the kind of men that don't love themselves and they can't love you. So you must understand that your boundaries are for you and they're for everyone else to respect how you move. So if you know you don't like someone shouting at you, You got to find, of course, within reason, there's a way to let people know, hey, I don't deal with shouting. When I'm talking to you, I don't shout. For me, when you're shouting, this makes me feel like you're now treating me like a child and not an adult. And that's not how I roll. What you must understand is that men always rise to the occasion of standards. Depending on who you are. I want to be very, very clear. Because not every man's going to raise to your standard because he doesn't believe that you're worth it. And that's okay. And what your boundaries should tell you is, if he doesn't believe that I'm worthy, I must go away. It's okay. You don't have to stay where you're not wanted. And you don't have to stay where you're not appreciated. Okay? So boundaries is important. Okay? Lack of boundaries is not loyalty. So I want you to understand that. Get yourself some boundaries. Here are the boundaries. There are 8 of them. There's physical boundaries. That's to do with your physical presence and your body. Do you like people too close to you? People too close to you? People touching you? You let them know, that's not, I don't want you touching me. Right? Is it emotional boundaries? Your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions. You know, does that person respect your emotions? If they don't, you got to let them know, hey, you don't respect my emotions, please. That's not for me. Okay? All right? Number 3 on the boundaries is sexual boundaries. Talk them through it. You know what I'm saying to you? You know that he's in a certain position. Talk him through it. Okay? He about to come out and do some crazy things, and you're like, just stay in that position. That's you talking through it. But that's sexual boundaries too, right? You having communications. Maybe you say, hey, I like this position, but I don't like that position. Sexual boundaries about consent, right? Maybe you don't want it today, and that's okay for you to say you don't want it today. You don't have to say yes today. You know what I'm saying to you? You get what I'm saying to you, right? Then there is financial boundaries. How do you work with your finances? Is it a case of that you gave someone £100 today, but you don't want to give them £100 next month? That's okay if you want to say no. You're allowed to say no to that. You can say, hey, look, I've given you £100 already. That's as far as I can go. That's all I can do. Right? And that's a boundary. Okay? Let's talk about and then let's talk about spiritual boundaries. Right? Is your time... Look, spiritual boundaries for you men or women. But it's for the women today we're talking about, right? Your spiritual boundaries. Some of you ladies, you know you're of the faith, right? At 8 o'clock, you know you're going to pray. That's your time to pray. You need time to pray. Go and pray. Hey, babe, listen. Your boy calls you that, hey, I appreciate it. Okay? All right? I appreciate it. But you know, right now, me and the Lord are connecting at 8 p.m. You know how I be. Because that's how me and the Lord is. Or 8 p.m. is my Bible study time. I'm protecting it. I know you want to talk to me. I know you want to get a hold of me. By 8 p.m., I'm always with my Lord. Nothing wrong with that. You're protecting your spiritual space, right? Okay. If we talk about digital boundaries, okay, digital boundaries. Someone calling you, or even someone dealing with like the time that someone messages you. Maybe people are messaging you at 2 a.m. on Instagram. And you might let them know, hey, look, can I be honest with you? I don't like people messaging me at 2 a.m. Personally. You let the person know. If you want to message me and get a hold of me, you message me before 10 p.m. And you're letting people know. Why are you doing that? Because every time you become passive, you are allowing the boundaries to be moved. Every time you become passive and don't say anything, you allow the boundary to be moved. And some of you are like, I don't want to be rude, I don't want to be disrespectful. But if you're dealing with somebody that you actually want to deal with, if you're dealing with somebody that you're talking to, or someone that you even just like, right? You've got to let them know 2 a.m. that ain't for you. Okay? And you must honor your boundaries. The moment you say it's a boundary and then try to shift it and move it, you're going to get in trouble. Okay? Because everybody's looking at you going, oh, I wonder... okay, so you said 10 a.m. is your time, your boundary, and then I pushed it, and look what happened. It ain't 10 a.m. no more. And if that person's a bad person, they already now know they got you. Because you shifting your boundaries. Listen, men like women that have boundaries. Okay? All right? Men like women that have boundaries. I'm just letting you know. Okay? They like women that have boundaries. All right? And I always forget the 8th one, which is like, I think, relational boundaries. But again, that's another story for another day. Okay? So boundaries are important. Okay? So I want you to understand, every time you deny yourself of your boundaries, every time you betray yourself in your boundaries, you are going to feel resentful, drained, and begin to lose a sense of self. And your emotional needs will stay unmet because you're trying to be, I don't want to be that kind of girl. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be this. And every time you say don't be this, you're going to lose out. You're going to feel resentful and angry. Okay? And the reason why, again, you must do this is because men will test limits. Oh, we will. Oh, we will test limits. I'm telling you this now. We will test limits. If you don't enforce consequences, they will adjust their behavior to their convenience and not to your value. You see, things that are valuable, they don't shift. Have you noticed? Have any of you gone into Gucci and tried to haggle with them like you're in the market? You will see what happens to you. You will see what happens to you. The reason why Gucci, Prada, all those things, iPhone, whatever, the reason why they are so expensive is because you can't go into the shop and you can't haggle with them. You can't move their boundaries. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You can't move their boundaries. So when you go into the shop, you already know your money's ready because you can't do anything else. You can't argue with the man and be like, yo, I know it's £1,000. Can you make it 500 for me? You would laugh that. Get the heck out. It's the same thing with you. You are the shop. When someone comes in, you've got boundary. They want to try and mess around with you. They're not consistent. They're not talking to you with respect. They're always having sexual conversations with you. That's another thing. I didn't even add that on the list. Let me add that on the list. Sexual conversations before it's time. Ladies, put a boundary on that. I'm not saying you can't have sexual conversations, especially if you're not Christian. I understand it's very different for you. But having sexual conversations so quickly is a bad omen for most times. I'm not saying there isn't the little occasional, we have the little jokes, the saying to you. But when that man just wants to drive you into sexual conversations all the time, and you know it, you can feel it, you need to lock it down. You warn him once, the second time you're done. Don't play with man because man are trying to play with you. You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah? And every time you play around with that sexual conversation where he's trying to push your boundaries on a sexual conversation and you don't want to have it, right? You're acting like somebody going into a shop and pretending to steal the bag and running out and pretending, I was just joking. Oh, I'm going to run out again. And I was just joking. I'm going to run out again. They're going to lock you up. You can't keep joking about you're going to steal that bag. They're going to lock you up when you go to that kind of shop, okay? So men will test your limits and if you don't enforce your consequences, okay? So let people know these are your boundaries. Number 3, a lot of women are overgivers way too soon. Way too soon. You think we owe you something as a man because you gave us so much. Who told you to invest in that man when he was not invested in you? Huh? Who told you to invest in that man when he's not invested in you? You're overgiving for what? Because you're trying to prove that you're worthy of love. Ain't got nothing to do with that man. You are trying to buy that man. We talk about men choosing gold diggers. Forget them. We talk about men, trying to buy women's love. Women are out here trying to outserve for men's love. You're trying to do the absolute most for this man, and he's barely giving you anything. That's why when you come and tell us a story, you can't even tell us a real story. You can't even tell us a real story because now you feel ashamed. And that's how you know when you're overgiving. When you start telling the story and you're like, but he has done a lot of things though for me. He has, and we're like, what's he done? I mean, he did take me out one time, and we're all looking at you like we're crazy. Why are we looking at you like that? Because you know, and I know that you're overgiving. You've done way too much for him, right? I'm not saying don't give. Please, we don't have to go to extreme. If you say don't give, then you don't need to be in a relationship. But you have to realize that your giving is coming from a trauma place. It's not coming from a true place. Okay? Decent to men does not mean don't invest in men, by the way. I'm talking about when you're dating someone or talking to someone. Don't overgive. Okay? You know what I mean? You're giving too much emotionally, sexually, financially, in hopes that they'll return the favor with love. Okay, all right? That's a poor investment. You're not realizing, okay? So you end up feeling used and unseen. If you're somebody who always feels unseen and always feels used, it's more than likely that you're putting yourself in places that they're not respecting and realizing your value. And it's because you're overgiving. You are overgiving. And you're trying to buy people. Stop buying people. Stop buying people. Stop it. Turn up. Be involved, yes, have conversations, get to know people. But you're so quick to want to solve an issue. You're so quick to want to give. You're so quick to this. Some of you have stories that you've given thousands of pounds to men before you've even seen a lick of him doing anything for you. And it's not the one, you see, the one that gives £1,000, it's not when the man has done something, You let's be honest. Let's be very honest. Ladies, let's be honest. Let's be very honest. The man that has taken your £1,000 is not the man that gave you £1,000. It's not the man that took you out. It's not the man that was loving you. It's not the man that was, no. The man that took your £1,000 is the one that was an absolute bastard from the beginning to the very end. And you're like, I don't know why they take my money. I don't know why they just take my money. I don't know why. You know why they take your money? Because you're overgiving. And when you're an overgiver, you're going to meet an overtaker. Oh. When you are an overgiver, you will always meet an overtaker. You know what I'm saying to you? And I want you to understand that. It's not that you can't give. It's not that you shouldn't give. But you have to start paying attention to the relationship. I realize that people who overgive, they're not paying attention to the relationship. They're not paying attention to the relationship. What they're paying attention to is your own selfish desire. Oh, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you out. I know, I got to call you out. I got to call you out a little bit here. I got to call you out. Okay? All right? We're going to call you out a little bit. All right? The reason why I'm going to call you out is because a lot of the times the giving isn't about the other person. It's about you. Yes, you feel so amazing when you help. You feel so amazing when you solve an issue. You feel so amazing when you are the one that is the sole person helping them. They got an issue and you're like, I can solve it. Why? Because you're trying to prove your worth through solving the issue. So what actually ends up happening is you leave no space to receive. And in most cases, you're going to choose somebody who's an overtaker. If there was somebody who was given to you equally, that'll be fine. And it's hard to find that person because the kind of people that you choose when you're an overtaker are people who, that you're overgiver is overtakers. Do you know why? Because it gives you further validation that you can give to the person who always needs to take. It doesn't give you a sense of validation when that person equally gives to you because you're not outgiving them. Because you're trying to prove your worth. So you need to outgive that person. So what's going to happen? You need to choose somebody you can outgive. So you choose people that are broken, you choose people that are hurt, you choose people that are broke, you choose people that are at the bottom of the barrel, you choose men that are just no good. And they sleeping on someone's grandma's couch. And then you gonna move them into your house because I believe in you. I see you. I just know that I know that you can do better. What? Let him get off his own 2 feet. Don't move him into your house. You don't need to move him. He's on his grandma's couch. Let him get off his grandma's couch and do what he needs to do. As men, we want the pride of doing this anyway. I'm not saying don't help us. What I'm saying to you is you're overgiving. And usually it's from a negative space. Right? You get what I'm saying to you? You know? I get it. You know what I'm saying to you? I get it. Help where you can, but don't let it become something that is where you don't have a limit to what you're doing. You're not paying attention to the relationship where you're consistently giving and the person can't give you anything back. Why? Who are you to be their God? Nobody. You know what I'm saying to you? No, real spit. They can't give you anything back. And I'm not saying you shouldn't help people, but you're trying to help people to be in a relationship. That's very different. You're not helping them as a friend. If you were a friend, and even so, friendship, you've got to be very careful because people do some friendships. If you were a friend, when you're helping them, you're not thinking about, it's a friend. But you're trying to be in a relationship. So that forces you into a dynamic where you're always trying to help them, right? And that person's always taking from you. You feel what I'm saying to you? See, somebody who really cared about you, be like, you know what? I can't lie to you. You're doing the most right now. And I just feel so bad. I can't give anything back to you. Have you noticed that the people that you're overgiven to, did they ever tell you that? They've never told you that. Why have they never told you that? Because they're overtakers. People that are manipulative to want to keep on taking, they will never tell you, look, I can't lie to you. I know you've helped me before, but I don't even want to take it anymore because at this point, I can't give you anything back and I don't have anything to give you. Like, I can't do anything for you the way you're doing it for me. People who are overtakers, who don't care about you, never say those words to you because they don't care about you. They don't care. You see what I'm saying to you? All right? So stop being an overtaker. Okay? When you're always giving without any reciprocation, okay, most people are going to end up becoming takers. All right? They're going to be opportunistic. Overgiving removes the mystery and effort that builds value. Okay? Overgiving removes the mystery and the effort that builds value. Men want to be able to be givers themselves. We want you to give, but allow that man to also reciprocate. Okay? All right? Allow that man to reciprocate. That's where boundaries come in, where you can say, hey, I can't do this right now. You know what I'm saying to you? When you say no, what do you say? Okay, all right, cool. All right, number 4. Okay, number 4. Stop sitting in negative spaces. Can I be honest with you? I can't wait to talk about this when I talk about the men's one, because the men's one, I'm going to talk about it. But let's talk about the ladies today, okay? All right? We're going to talk about the ladies today, but we're going to talk about the ladies today, but we'll talk about the men next week, all right? Now, if you're with me on part 4, so if you're with me in this chat so far, please type in Genesis in the chat. We're crafting a new community here. I want you to know that we are talking about Genesis, okay? All right? Genesis. If you're with me in the chat, type in the chat Genesis. If I know that you're with me, then I know we're moving together. You know what I'm saying to you? If you're with me in this chat, type Genesis. You know what I'm saying to you? I know we're moving together as a community and as a family. You know what I'm saying to you? All right? Genesis is just a name that we're giving ourselves. We're moving as a community. Just lets me know that we're a community and we're together in this situation, okay? All right, cool. Number four, okay? Stop sitting in negative spaces. Let me give you an example of negative space, all right? Every conversation is about how bad the opposite sex is. It's a negative space. I'm going to be real with you. Bad company corrupts good morale. You are never going to be able to see the opposite sex and see a good opportunity if every single time they tell you that the opposite sex is trash. The Bible says faith cometh by hearing the word of God. The first equation is faith cometh by hearing. Whatever you're hearing is becoming part of your faith. And the Bible says we walk by faith, not by sight. So whatever you're hearing is now becoming what you walk by. You're never going to see the opportunity in the men and the good men because you're always looking at them from a negative lens. Get out of negative spaces. Spaces that are always going to tell you how bad men are never going to help you to be able to choose a right man. Right? Which is why I don't tell you men are bad or women are bad. I don't tell you, oh, women are bad. Oh, men are bad. No, there are bad people out there. But we're going to talk about why you are consistently meeting those bad people. But we ain't going to talk about the bad people. We don't need to. Right? We don't need to. Okay? So understand, whenever you put yourself in those energies and those atmospheres, you're soaking it up. You are soaking it up. You're soaking it up. Yes, it is everywhere. The bad energy is everywhere. And you need to stay away from it. Right? You need to stay away from it. Would you not be concerned if every conversation you were having people, they were talking about robbing people? Would you not be concerned if everybody you were talking to and every place you went to, they were talking about how they're going to unalive people? Would you not be concerned? Would you not be thinking, damn, why is everyone just talking about unaliving? I don't want to be in this space. This feels so negative. This feels so down. You know what I'm saying to you? You wouldn't want to be in that atmosphere. So why would you want to be in an atmosphere that's consistently talking about how bad the opposite sex is? It's true. There can be opposite sex people that are bad. It can be. I won't deny you that. That is the truth. Let's not lie. There are bad men out there. But there are some good men out there too. And we need to find the ones that are good. Okay? All right? Whenever you internalize cynicism, you lose hope in healthy love. And it begins to sabotage potential connections out of fear or pride. Okay? All right? So whenever you internalize the cynicism, you lose a healthy love and perspective. Okay? And the thing is as well, good men are going to pick up on that energy. All right? Good men are going to pick up on that energy. If you're somebody that's always a cynic, that's always critical, that's always skeptical of men, they're going to pick up on that energy. All right? They're going to pick up on that energy and they're going to try and avoid you. The good ones are going to want to avoid you because you sound jaded and you sound angry, you sound bitter, you sound hurt. You know how now they've labeled red pill bitter, angry and hurt? As soon as you hear the red pill points, what are you ladies doing now? Right? Ladies, am I lying? When you hear a man talking some of those red pill points, what do you immediately do? So imagine now, the men are also the exact same way. When they hear that energy and they hear certain points, they're like, whoa. Woo. You sound like you still hurt and still bitter. I ain't for me. I gotta go away. A good man don't want to be around that because you're going to drag him down with you. You know what I'm saying to you? So again, it's about not being in negative spaces and being in positive ones that are going to continue to uplift your spirit and encourage you. Okay? All right? Point number 5. Okay? Stop wondering what he thinks. When I say this point, there's a of course a caveat, but what I'm saying this is going back to a point I said earlier on, right? About decentering men. What I mean by that is, all right, live your life. When I say stop wondering what he thinks, it means stop projecting. A lot of times people project what the opposite sex is really thinking, and you don't know. Okay, we don't know. All right? You don't know. Stop prioritizing his validation over your particular vision. Okay? Stop obsessing over what he likes instead of discerning if he's the right person for you. Let me say it again for you. Stop prioritizing his validation and his needs and his wants and his vision over your own sight and what you have for your life. Stop obsessing over him and what he is about and what he wants, rather than discerning whether he's the right kind of person for you. Does he fit into what you're trying to do in your life? The same way he's thinking about this too. Are you the right person for your life? Shout out to Tom Mucci. I just saw him as well. Man like Tom, you know. I appreciate you, Mucci. It's important, right? So when I say decentering, it means focus on what you need. A lot of women are going to get into relationships purely by focusing on that man's needs. Then they get married and then they get angry at the man and say, he's so selfish. He never thinks about anybody else. He didn't think about you in the first place because you weren't honest about what you actually needed. You never fought for what you needed. You just caved in. And you've always been a cave-in person. In most cases. Not all, but in most cases. I know some of you are going to say, no, men change, dagga, 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 dagga. And I'm going to tell you, listen, look, a lot of times men don't change, and a lot of times women don't change. When I say change, I don't mean I'm talking about the overall values. I'm not talking about the other changes that happen in a relationship over a period of time. I'm talking about the fact that you're vocal about your needs. That don't change. As a man, that don't change. As a woman, that don't change. Can your needs shift? Yes, but your vocality won't change. So you have to understand you are always that way. If you're always vocal, then you're always going to be vocal. The needs might change within that over a period of time and experience, but the speaking up doesn't change because that's always been you. So when you are getting into a relationship, stop just focusing on what his needs are. It's good to hear him out. Yeah, you want to know what his needs are, but you're doing that in comparison with your own needs. Do I know what I want? Do I know what I need? Because then I have to match that against what he needs. What a lot of times I see with women that go into bad relationships is they forget that they have needs and they prioritize his needs and pedestalize him. Baby, it's not enough just to be chosen. Okay? It's not enough just to be chosen. You know what I'm saying to you? Okay? Now, how does that affect you? Well, because you become disconnected from your own values and your own desires. And your identity becomes shaped around being chosen rather than being aligned. I don't want you to just do whatever I want to do. You know, yes, people are fun at first, but after a while, it's very boring. Right? People that always say yes are great at first. And after a while, you want to get rid of them. Why do you want to get rid of them? Because they're annoying. Do you not have your own opinion? Do you not want to do what you want to do? Do you not want to do something else? Right? But maybe you got a fear of conflict. Some of you, the reason why you're even not able to say what you actually need is because you've got a fear of conflict. And your fear of conflict isn't the conflict itself. It is what it actually means. What you're really afraid of is that if you conflict, they may abandon you or they may reject you. You're afraid of abandonment and rejection. That's a wound you need to heal. That's a wound you need to heal. ASAP Rock. Because it's causing you not to speak up and tell the truth about how you really feel. And now you're in the relationship and it looks like you changed, but you didn't change. You just never were honest. You were never honest and vocal about what you actually needed. So when he started dating you, he dated the representative. He never dated the real you. And now 5-10 years later, it's like you changed. You ain't changed. You're just more vocal now. You got comfortable and said what you wanted to say. So let's start from the very beginning. Let's tell the truth from the very beginning, because then you're going to avoid the men that actually are not for you. Because he might be good, but he's not God. What I mean by that is we can have good ideas, but there's some that are God ideas. A good idea is not a God idea. A God idea is the right one. A good idea, it can fit, but it's not necessarily have to be the right one. We want a God idea in this one when it comes to relationship and marriage, because we want that person to fit and be aligned with you. Okay, all right. And here's the truth: if you're not being honest about your needs, if you're not being honest about your needs, but you're meeting all his needs, the kind of people that are usually are men that are emotionally unavailable. Oh, because in most cases, what you're doing is probably mind reading his needs anyway, right? Because you're hoping that he'll mind read your needs. You've learned, I learned all your needs, did you? out? Did you learn all your needs out of survival, or did you learn all his needs out of love? There's a difference. If you learn his needs out of love, you'll be vocal. If you learn his needs out of survival, you won't be. You'll be passive aggressive and you'll be manipulative. And you'll be trying to people please in order to get your needs met. Oh, let me say that one more time so you understand what I'm saying to you. If you are going to try and meet this man's needs, but you're not vocal about yours, it's more than likely you've picked up on his needs by watching and observing him out of a place of survival, not love. Because if it was love, you would have spoken up about your needs too. Love understands that I need to be able to show up as my true and authentic self so that you can love me in my fullest, not when I hide parts of myself. Not when I deny parts of myself. You are fighting out of survival. You are loving out of survival. That ain't gonna last long. Be honest about what you need. Okay? All right? Because the men that you end up probably picking are men that are emotionally unavailable, men that overtake, okay? And that probably going to be selfish. All right? They're most likely going to be selfish. Or they're going to be men who are also going to be healers. And let me tell you this now. Just like when women overgive, there are men on the other side who overgive too. And the problem with that is the moment you get healed, it's the moment you become too big for him. Let's talk about that part. Let me talk about that part. This is 5B. There are times where ladies are broken. You're broken. You're hurt. You've got your abandonment, your trauma wounds, whatever. Okay, and you end up finding a man that is invested in your healing. Okay, he's invested in your healing, and you find this man who wants to love you, but he's doing too much. He's overgiving. And you know what? You maybe at first you're not really feeling it, but then after a while you're like, you know what? This is a man that loves me and just cares about me. I probably should just go with him. He's stable. He's good. And what ends up happening is once you get healed, once you get stable, once you've achieved your marriage and you've achieved the kids and everything like that, then you're really looking at the relationship. You're like, actually, do I really like him? Do I really want him? Damn. This is the first time I've actually really looked at it. And the reason why it's the first time you've looked at it is because you were concerned with your survival and not love. Everything you were doing was out of survival mode. And because somebody was willing to take a chance on you to heal you and overgive, when you no longer needed him to overgive, he no longer became useful. And it no longer became a partnership. It became, well, it was never a partnership because it was him always overgiving. And that can also happen to ladies too. Got to be very careful of those men that are above the builders too. Okay? Be careful of the men that are above the builders that are building you because you're broken. Now, listen, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that, it's not good for a man to cover you and love you and appreciate you. No, I'm not saying that's not at all. But just like when women are overgivers, there are men that are overgivers. And let me tell you this now. Those men, they want recompense just like you want recompense if you're an overgiver. All right? And oftentimes, those men that are too much of a healer, what ends up happening is that they don't have good boundaries either. And they're passive aggressive just like you. And they don't tell you what their needs are. And then when it gets to a part of a relationship, they blow up because, wait, you don't care about me? You don't love me? You don't do these things for me? And you're like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. Why didn't they know? Because they never spoke up. Okay? All right? It's important. Number 6. Okay? Number 6. What do you value versus what have you accepted? Okay? What do you value versus what you accepted? There is a gap between what you say you want in a man and what you accept in a dating life. Okay? This is why I think a lot of us need to actually really pay attention to what we're actually saying. Because a lot of times we put some stuff on the internet. It's going to go to point number 9. Well, we'll get there. About moving in silence. But a lot of times there's a gap between what you say versus what you accept. And this is why sometimes you just need to sit down and really pay attention. Okay? Really pay attention to what we actually need. Because when you actually sit down with your actual self, look at yourself in the mirror and pay attention, hey, what do I need? You can stop all this unrealistic nonsense talk that happens on the internet. You don't join that crew because you're realistic about what you actually need versus what is the idealistic kind of person you're looking for, right? You know what you need, okay? Because what ends up happening is it creates a cognitive dissonance and self-betrayal. And see, when you start saying things versus what you start doing and they're incongruent, you start feeling bad because you start feeling like I'm betraying me. And then when you start feeling like you're betraying yourself, you can't be authentic in that relationship anyway. So you can't even give your full self because you know that you're not being your true self. So actually start lining what you say versus what you do. If you know that this thing is more of a social media expectation, you need to handle that and be like, okay, that's not my expectation. When I really look at it, that's not what I actually need. That's not what I actually need. That's a luxury that actually I don't need that. So you need to think to yourself, what is it that I actually need? And link up what you say versus what you do. This is on you. You got to make sure. Okay? All right? Because then what ends up happening is there's cognitive dissonance. You start to feel unworthy of the love that you truly desire. And you end up more than likely lowering your standards. What's the point? Okay? What's the point? You know what I'm saying to you? Okay? All right? And also the reality situation is when men don't rise to meet that potential, because usually it's potential, when they don't respond to those standards, okay, all right, then you become angry, and you become bitter, and you become hurt and resentful. You know what I'm saying to you? So let's make sure we know what our needs are and speak what our needs are and stick to it. You know what I mean? That's all. Because while you're speaking, you're encouraging certain types of people to come towards you. And if it's not congruent with what you actually want, especially, and this also, you're gonna meet those kind of men that they get a kick out of this too, right? When you say, "Oh, I want a man," let's say, for instance, I'm making a very extreme example. Okay, so it's an example that's very extreme. You send it into, "I want a man to make 6 figures," and then the man you meet makes 50K, and you end up falling in love with him. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Some men will look at you like you're crazy. That man who's making 50K, even though he knows that you love him, quote unquote, to say, right? He also feels some type of way because he knows that you were always saying you wanted a 100K man and now you're a 50K man. Now he's asking the question, why are you with me, really and truly? He's also broken because why does he know that you want a 100K man and he's a 50K man and he's still dating you? Why is he dating you too? He's also broken. So now you've chosen somebody, again, that's going to be a bad person for you. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. You know what I'm saying to you? So don't betray your standards. Don't betray your standards at all. Don't betray your standards at all. Stick to what your standards are. You know what I'm saying to you? Stick to what your standards are. You know what I mean? Number 7. Okay, all right. Number 7. What parts of you do you hide? What parts of you do you reject? One of the biggest things that causes people to get into bad relationships, ladies. Okay. All right. One of the bad things that gets women into bad relationships is that they reject part of themselves. You need to come to a place of accepting who you are and what you bring in your wholesomeness. Okay. In all your wholesomeness and awesomeness, you need to accept it, because whenever you start rejecting parts of you, what tends to happen is we choose people that tend to be, how do I say this? When you are not accepting of parts of yourself, okay, when you suppress the truthfulness of yourself, right, and you don't be honest about who you are. Let's say, for instance, you're somebody who has got a flair for the dramatics. That's just you. You got a flair for the dramatics. You love a little bit of the dramatics. That's you. You know what I'm saying to you? You're not harming nobody. You're not killing anybody. You just like a flair for the dramatics. And then you meet a man and you're like, I can't be dramatic anymore. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're rejecting a part of yourself. You're rejecting a part of yourself. And then what ends up happening is you try to fit into a shoe that's not yours. And then you end up choosing a man that's not according to the shoe size. Like, there's no point. If you have got a flair for the dramatic, you got a flair for this, you got a flair for that. If it's just you love drama, no, when I say drama, I don't mean you love the dramatics, but you love drama as like, you love, acting or whatever. You love whatever you love. Do not pretend that you don't like it and you don't love it. You know what I'm saying to you? Do not pretend that you don't like it, you don't love it, because you have to accept all of you so that they can accept all of you too. If you're hiding parts of yourself, you will always say to yourself that they don't really love me fully. And the reason why they can't love you fully is because you're not actually being honest about what you love about you. So then you think that they can't love you fully. You know what I'm saying to you? So it's really important. You know what I mean? That's a really important part. You know what I'm saying to you? Really important part. Do not suppress your truth, your emotions, your belief, your desires out of fear that somebody will leave you, or that somebody will judge you, or they won't accept you, the real you. You know what I'm saying to you, okay? Because when you start doing that, you start disconnecting, being insecure and emotionally unfulfilled. You know what I'm saying to you? And then you feel like you're not being seen, you're not being heard. In reality, Are you seeing yourself? In reality, are you seeing yourself? Are you accepting all parts of you? Because when you accept all parts of you, that man that does love all of you, you can accept his love because you know that you accept you. If you don't accept you, you're going to feel like if he loves you, that he doesn't really love you because you're not really accepting the parts of you. He don't really know me. You know what I'm saying to you? He don't really know me. You know? He don't really know me. You get what I'm saying to you? So it's important. Okay? And look, some men really do love the edited part of yourself. Some men love the representative. Some men love the people that don't, the women that don't emotionally connect. Some men love the women that are not healthy. And you don't want that kind of man. You know, you don't want that kind of man. You want a man that is emotionally well-rounded, has emotional intellect, but also can love all of you. That means, including he loves himself, but he loves you. The Bible says that how can a husband loves his wife like he loves himself? If he's also not accepting, more than likely he's going to love somebody who's not also accepting. And then we have more trouble because we've got to figure that out. Like when we start healing, how do we heal and stuff like that? You know what I mean? So start loving all of you. Start accepting all of you. Okay? Someone said, how do you stop the idea you don't deserve love if you deal with depression? Well, people that usually don't feel like they deserve love oftentimes have a fearful, avoidant attachment style. Apologies. And that usually comes because first and foremost, you haven't started loving parts of you. It actually goes into what we just said, Empress 92. So shout out to that question. It's a really good question. Start loving you. The reason why you don't believe you deserve that love is because you're looking at yourself and you're valuing yourself. And you say, I don't value that part of me. And I don't think somebody else would value that part of me. So you need to start valuing the parts of you that you feel like are ugly or that are dark or not so pretty. Start loving those parts of you. Then you'll start adding value to yourself, because once you start loving those parts of you, say, oh, I've got value. You know what I'm saying? I love every part of me. It is parts that are good, parts that are bad, but I love every part of me. That's just me. So first and foremost, I always say is look in the mirror, first and foremost. Sit down with yourself. Give yourself 10 minutes. Let your brain think. What are the parts of you that you have rejected? Because all those things that you're rejecting are also part of the things that you're saying that are not valuable. And so what's going to end up happening is that you're going to believe that you don't deserve love based upon, I have these traits or these behaviors or whatever, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times too, also, people know they have certain traits that are not very, let's say, you know, they have some bad behaviors, but you've lost hope because you actually haven't started working on it. Well, then start working on it. You know what I mean? Google's there. Type it in Google. Find a coach like myself. Listen, you know what I'm saying to you? Look, if you want a coach, I coach people. You know what I'm saying to you? And we'll talk about it. We'll break it down. But I break it down from the root. I don't start at the present. If we're going to deal with an issue, we need to go back to the very beginning on the origin. We need to go to the origin of where this began and uproot that issue from the very base of where it started. So we go to the very first time you remember this feeling. We go to that and we attack that experience and we shift the perspective on the experience. Yes, it happens. We validate you, but we're going to shift it now because now you're an adult. You are no longer the child that unfortunately that thing happened to. You're now the adult who has to reparent the child that had went through that situation. Right? So that's also important as well. So start loving the parts of you that you feel are not that beautiful. You have to start loving it. When you do, you'll add value to yourself and then you'll believe that other people should see that value because you believe you're valuable. You know what I'm saying to you? Okay. All right. Cool. Number 8, what needs you have what needs have you failed to act on? Self-abandonment. Okay. So self-abandonment, this is a big thing in when I coach people when it comes to relationships. Okay. Self-abandonment is a big thing. A lot of women give up their needs because of what they've experienced in their childhood. A lot of you have been parentified way before your time. You grew up in a household where you were a third parent, maybe even a second parent, because maybe the father went there, or maybe the mother was there, whichever one. Maybe you had both parents, but you still had to be a third parent. Some of you are third parents. That's going to parentify you. Okay? A good example of this is Megan Good. Okay? Megan Good was a parentified child because although she was a child star, she financially was actually fitting the whole house. I speak about this on my channel, on my YouTube channel, about how people are born this way because she was now a child star, but her mum had now become a manager, but her income was now supplying the household. So there's now a pressure on Megan Good to make sure she works because her finances pay for the household bills. You know what I'm saying to you? So that puts a pressure on a child. And what that does is a child is too young to understand how to balance needs. So what it does is it abandons its need and then supplies the need of other people, because the child now is afraid that if it does not do this, they'll be abandoned, rejected, or betrayed by the parent. Okay, so many women grow up in households where they are a maid. You're doing everything. You're babysitting, you're cooking, you're cleaning. You know, you barely have time to do your homework. You have to be everything to everyone. Okay, you have to be everything to everyone. You know what I mean? And in that space, when people have to be in that space, unfortunately, they learn how to do what we call self-abandonment. Okay, self-abandonment. All right. So what ends up happening is you ignore your intuition, you sacrifice your needs, and you stay silent to keep the peace. Okay. You stay silent to keep the peace or to avoid conflict. All right. So this is really important when it comes to self-abandonment. Don't abandon your intuition. Don't sacrifice your needs. Don't stay silent. All right. I'm not telling you to wild out, but what I'm telling you to do is honor you. Honor you. In a relationship, you still have to put yourself first. As much as you are supplying the needs of somebody else, you are still putting yourself first. Okay? And if you're not doing that single, you're going to struggle doing that when you're in a relationship. And you know you're not doing that when you're not, when you're not doing that when you're single. Okay? You know when you're not doing that when you're not single, when you don't have time to even enjoy life. Like, say for instance, I love going to cinema. Let's say for instance right now, tomorrow, Sinners comes out, right? You were like, I wish I could go watch a movie, but I've got so much work to do. I've got to do this, and this for this person. I've got to do that for this person. I've got to do that for this person. And instead of going to watch the movie, you're like, I've got 100 other things I've got to do. So now you start abandoning yourself. So this is a way to test yourself. You know what I'm saying to you? Heather Still, don't worry about them. Listen, they're always been those people. Don't battle with them anymore. We'll deal with them after Heather Still. I know you want to listen and you want to be a part of it. And I know it can be a little bit distracting. Don't worry about them anymore. Okay, don't worry about them. Those people will always be there. Heather Still. I want you to keep on learning, babe. Okay, don't let them stress you out too much in the chat. All right, we got this. I'll handle them in a few minutes time. Okay, but yes, we don't want you to self-abandon. And the key test of self-abandonment. Okay. The key test of self-abandonment is, can you do what you want to do? Or are you always having to be on somebody else's schedule and somebody else's favor? Somebody else is doing them for this or that. If you're doing that when you're single and you're always doing other things for everyone else and you don't have time to do things for you, you're self-abandoning. Stop doing it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to choose a man who's going to take, and take some more. And then probably by the time you realize, you're going to get angry, you're going to cuss him out. You know what I mean? So we don't want that to be anymore, okay? Don't live in a cycle of silent suffering, hoping for love, but fearing rejection. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Okay? Because the men you end up kind of choosing tend to be ignorant, lacking self-awareness, and just want to take it. You know what I'm saying to you? And also sometimes what ends up happening is people then end up going into a relationship and then kind of saying yes to things that they want to say no to. Don't be in that space. All right? Don't be in that space. Learn to say yes to yourself first. You have to put yourself first, okay? Now, my last two points. These are key for me, okay? All right? We live in a world, and I want to be very honest, even as a man, I have to work on this, but I'm going to be honest with you. We live in a world, right, when a woman says, I want a man that makes 6 figures, you know what people are going to say to you straight away. Hear me out, okay? Because we live in this world, and we have to be honest about it, all right? Both men and women. Call it misogyny, call it misogynoir, call it men hate women, whatever you want to label it as, I don't really mind. But when you start talking about what you want outwardly, there's certain factors. It's going to trigger the other party, okay? And you don't have to care about them. My thing is this. Women move in silence. Move in silence. You need not say, you need to just move in silence. If you want a man to make 6 figures, I don't care. Don't need to tell us, move in silence. Stop telling social media, stop telling the whole rest of the world, stop telling them, just move in silence. The gift of women and the power of women is that they are able to move in silence. When Adam and Eve were in the garden, the thing that got Adam to eat the fruit was the silence. It was not the fact that, hey Adam, I got this fruit, how about you come and eat? No. What moved him was the silence. You see, silence has an assurity to it. Silence has an assertiveness to it. If you were on my live a couple of weeks back, I spoke about this when it comes to relationships. When women want men to do stuff in a relationship, that if they say, listen, hey, babe, can you grab this for me? Or babe, can you go to the shop? Rather than if he says rather than arguing back and forth, what did I say to you? I said silence. You just look at him. Because people that are confident don't need to keep adding on. It's people that are not confident will keep adding on. Because they're adding more because they're trying to persuade you. You need not to be persuaded. You need not to persuade. So move in silence. If you want a man, okay? If you want a man and you want the sex figures, whatever, don't say it to, you don't need to say anything. You know in your heart you want that kind of man. You know in your heart you got bills. He needs to pay them. You move in silence and you go and get it. A lot of times, too many people come and start telling the world these things. And as a woman, it's very different for you than it is for a man, right? It's very different. So we have to understand that. So we move in the silence. You don't have to overshare what your goals and your motivations are and your desires are. You know what I'm saying to you? You don't have to. You know what I'm saying to you? The beauty of women is that they move in silence. I mean, does your beauty do you need to speak for your beauty to be shown? We can see it. You don't even need to say anything. We're just like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's walking by like that? You don't even say anything. Beauty has a grace. It moves in silence, but it speaks very loudly. So you don't need to announce if you want a six-figure man or you want a man that you don't need to, right? You know what I'm saying to you? And I'm talking about when you're talking about the rest of the world, or talking about when you're on social media. I'm talking about those things, right? I'm talking about those kind of things. Even when you're even first dating somebody, right? I mean, listen, you need not even have to even necessarily announce that on a first date, because really and truly, you will see it by the way I'm moving. You know what I'm saying to you? You don't need to overly pronounce that. On the first date, you're out here saying, I need a man to make six figures. Why? You don't even need to even say that. You just analyze the way he's moving. You know, the gift of women is, do you know women are very clever? They don't say, they will tell, listen, women are very clever. I mean, when we were younger, okay, we used to have a thing about, there's someone right there. We had a thing about going to a club, right? In the club, we used to have a saying, I don't know if they do it anymore, because, you know, I'm a certain age now. In the club, we used to have a thing where we say, when we used to go for, a wine, you know, you wine behind a gal, right? You get behind a gal, you give her a little wine. There used to be a thing, a joke, but it's real life. Women would wine with you for 2 seconds, look back to see, they would look at your shoes before they look at your face. They look down, then they look up. Whoa. Why did they do that? They didn't need to say anything. They just need to observe and watch. It was not about saying anything. It was about looking and watching and observing and then making a movement. You know what I'm saying to you, right? So if the shoes were looking horrible, more than likely, he's not going to be the kind of guy you like. So when the girls would do that, they look back up. They give 2 second wine and look. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. If you're a certain age, you know. If you're not of a certain age, you won't know this one. Because, you know what I mean? If you're too old or you're too young, it might be past your time. But for those of us who knew, we know, you know what I'm saying to you? Like the girl will look at is a shoe polished, or is it a nice crisp trainer? Like, or is it a battered trainer? You know, and you'd qualify that person. It's a skill that women have to observe and then move. You know what I'm saying to you? To observe and to move and to ask questions. That's why women ask questions like, oh, what do you do for work? Yeah, she wants to know what you do for work, but it gives her an idea of what the financial range might be. So she doesn't have to necessarily ask that direct question. It gives you a bit of a ballpark. You know what I'm saying to you? It gives you a bit of a ballpark. You know what I'm saying to you? Someone said they had to use their phone to light up. I hear it. Mm-hmm. So now you have to observe. Yes, you can observe emotional intelligence if you need to. Yeah. Your gift is your observation, ladies. Okay? That's your skill. That's your beauty and your grace and your power. Men always announce themselves because that's what men do. Men penetrate and men penetrate and then men protrude. Women don't do that. So the gift of women is that they watch and they observe and they see. And they watch how you move. That's why many women will tell you that although that man tried to move to them and the man was like, oh yeah, I moved to you. She's like, no, I saw you from earlier on. This is why you hear these words. It's why you hear, a lot of time you hear these words. You hear from women that will tell you, listen, yeah, he thought he was moving to me. No. I saw him from earlier on. And I watched him. And I saw him. And that's why women will tell you those things, because they're already observing. Okay? All right? So the power of silence. We don't need to broadcast it on the internet, what you necessarily want in a man. Don't get caught up in that. That's the new age. The new age people do that. And they get caught up in stuff. You don't need to. You've seen what happens when you announce it. Man, them don't even care about it. They just start being rude. You know what I'm saying to you? And you know what I'm saying to you? So, and then you get caught up in it. You don't want to get caught up in it. So for you personally, hey, you want to know what I'm about? You get to know me. That's fine. But I don't need to be announcing it everywhere. You know what I'm saying to you? All right? Because you see how they do? A woman says, I want a man with 6 figures. Why do you deserve a 6-figure man? Why you what are you doing? Before you know you're on Kevin, well, he's passed away now. But you know what I'm saying to you? Next you know you're on Kevin Samuel's situation. Do you get what I'm saying to you? It's dumb. So we have to navigate the world in truth as to what it actually is. I can't change the world to be better right now quicker than I can give you advice to how to navigate it right now. And that's the truth. I have to deal with the realism of versus the idealism. Ideally, I wouldn't want that to happen to you. Ideally, I wouldn't mind you just saying what you actually wanted and making it make sense. But it doesn't work that way. So in realism, women have to move in a way that just you want to don't tell us what you need. Just go and get what you want. You know what I'm saying? To go get what you want. You know what I'm saying? Okay, all right. So emotionally mature and high value, I'll say emotionally mature men and men that are of good quality and ilk, okay, watch more than you speak as well, okay. So they're also, quality men are also watching you too. They're watching what you're doing. They're watching what your behavior is as well. Okay, all right. So if you're always online demanding a certain lifestyle, then people start seeing you as performative and start seeing you as a gold digger. Why? Why should they see you as a gold digger now? You know what I'm saying to you? Why should they see you as that? You know what I'm saying to you? It's not. Real people move in silence. You know what I'm saying? We used to say, I think we said, real gangsters move in silence. Why? Because gangsters don't be talking about how I'm going to pop everybody. You know what I'm saying to you? Real gangsters are like, I'm not trying to get caught. I'm a real gangster. I'm going to take you out in silence. You know what I'm saying to you? Talking about it invites too many ears. Real gangsters move in silence. Real women that are mature and understand things, they move in silence. They don't tell everybody their business. Okay? Discretion isn't secrecy, it's protection. You feel what I'm saying to you? All right? That's an important aspect as well. Okay, last point, and then I'm going to open up the panel for you guys to come on and share your thoughts. If you disagree, fantastic, we don't mind. If you agree, fantastic, don't mind. It's an open discussion. I will say this, please, if you're coming and you're going to be disrespectful, I'm not here for it, okay? All right, we are not here for it. We're a good community. We're building a very nice community where we're respectful. Whether we agree or disagree, we have great conversations every Thursday. So I want to keep that going, okay? Number 10. Okay, number 10, unrealistic ideals are setting you up for disappointment. Okay, all right, unrealistic ideals are setting you up for disappointment. The internet has lied to a lot of us. I want to say this now. The internet has lied to a lot of us. Okay, but again, I'll talk about this next week as well for the men. I'm going to talk about this particular week, right? All right, the internet has lied. Let me tell you why. Because the internet has told everybody. Unfortunately, as the internet has marketed a lifestyle that most people don't actually live. The internet, the social media, TV shows have started marketing lifestyles that most of us don't live. But we aspire to have, but we're not necessarily there, right? Not everyone's going to live an RHOA lifestyle, okay? Not everyone's going to live a Real Housewives lifestyle. Not everyone's going to live, Real Basketball Wives lifestyle. Okay, not everyone's going to live a millionaire's lifestyle. Okay, not everyone's even going to live a 6-figure lifestyle. Okay, all right. So we have to understand that not everyone's going to live that lifestyle. So and I know that this can also be taken. Sometimes men use this as a battering ram. I don't want to be a battering ram. The statistics are there. Generally there is, it's for those who make 6 figures, it usually is a 10% mark. In UK it's 5%. Like, it is a very small means. Most people are partnering. I just want to be very, very clear. Okay, most people are partnering. Now, does that mean that you can't get a man that pays all the bank and all the bills? Doesn't mean that at all. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is, look around and be realistic with what your actual situation is. That's all. It's good, we can aspire, but be realistic in terms of where you are right now. You know what I'm saying to you? Be realistic, that's all. I aspire to be at 2 million subs on YouTube, but I'm not there yet. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying to you? We're building to get there. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes social media and internet, like for instance now, how much we spend on a wedding? We spend 20, look, for me personally, I do not want to take out a loan for a wedding. It makes no sense. Why are we going into debt for one day? And that one day, you're chopping and you're eating on my behalf. I don't even take out a loan for my birthday, and I want to take a loan out for my weddings. We invite people that wouldn't even ordinarily even call you on a normal day. just to say that we are married to show other people. It's a lifestyle that you can't afford. If you go into debt over a wedding, it's a lifestyle you can't afford. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you now, we actually need to be a generation that downsizes our weddings. You know how we know? People got married at COVID and it was the most amazing time. Let me tell you why it's amazing. Because people got married, some people even got married twice. They would have the first wedding for the family, second wedding for the friends, and you only allow 15 people in the room. Nobody could cry again. You were happy. You spent minimal monies. And you got married and you were happy to go again. You were not in debt, you weren't broke, and you lived your life. Now COVID is open up again. People are looking to spend 20, 30, 40K. I can't do it. I don't have 40K to be spending on a wedding. You know what I'm saying to you? It don't make sense. You get what I'm saying to you? Most people can't actually afford a 40K wedding. Right? So we then have to start being realistic with our standards. You know, it's more for men and women, by the way, but I'm just saying that in general. I think as a generation, and we've bought into the lie that you can live that lifestyle. Don't buy into some of those lies. Be grounded. Start looking at life realistically, and that happens when we start looking in the mirror, and then we start doing real. When people start telling you about, I found some friends when they start telling you that they start sitting down and looking at the calculations of what a wedding costs, they start realizing we don't have it. Cut this back, cut that back, cut this back, cut this back, cut it back. You know what I mean? And sometimes that has to be also the way that you date. There's some things that are actually, it's luxury. You're asking for luxury. That's not necessary. What is your needs? Okay? What is your needs? So be specific. What are your needs? The luxury, if you can get it, fine. But let's stick to the needs. That's what's important. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm not asking you to date a man. I already told you. He's on his grandma's couch. I never asked you to save him. Leave him where he is. Okay? I've already told you that. I'm not asking you to downgrade and choose somebody who's not going to at least partner with you. No. I'm not saying that at all. You know what I'm saying to you? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying to you that let's start being focused on the needs. You know what I'm saying to you? Okay? Being focused on the needs. That grounds us, and that also starts to tamper what we call the pleasure plateau, because people get excited. You know what I mean? The people get excited. We get excited thinking, we do. And then when it doesn't get met, we feel sad. You know what I'm saying to you? Do I think going on dates is a need? I think going on dates is, can I be honest with you? Going on dates is important. As a man, I love even going on dates. Because when I say go on dates, what I mean is, if you like that person and you like their time, the date is essential. And dates don't have to always be you're spending 200, 300 pounds. You have to get creative as a man. But that's another story for another day. That's for next week. I'm going to talk about that next week. But dates are important. They're important because it keeps the relationship alive. You know? Okay. All right, so that's number 10. Okay, that's number 10. So, as I said, the 10 things that we spoke about, the 10 things that we spoke about, right, were number 1, passivity. Number 2, no boundaries. Number 3, overgiving. Number 4, negative spaces. Number 5, approval addiction. Number 6, value discrepancy. Number 7, hiding yourself. Number 8, self-abandonment. Number 9, oversharing. Number 10, unrealistic ideals. You know? You know what I'm saying to you? Okay? So I look, again, this was all about making sure we had that real conversation. I'm going to open up a panel. If you've got something you want to say, you want to add something, this is the day to do it. Monday is not the day. Monday is coaching day, but on Thursdays, people have different opinions, different thoughts. And I would love to be able to hear what you guys' thoughts are as well. And if you're with me in the chat right now, please type in Genesis. If you're here and you're part of the crew, I'm calling us a new name. We're called Genesis. And I'm going to be branding it properly very soon, because I want to build a community as well off this platform. I'm just working on it this weekend. I'm going to work on it this weekend because what I'm going to do, I want to build a community maybe on WhatsApp, so that we can actually start to be in an offline of the TikTok. I want to build a community for you guys to be able to congregate, and what that allow for more communications and stuff like that to happen. But also then I can actually start giving you guys some content as well.